Hello, everybody. Greetings from National Skills Network, which is popularly known as NSN. And today we have a guest with us from Tata STRIVE as we are continuing our conversations with their leadership team to understand how many aspects of skill development are yielding great results and the phenomenal work that's happening at Tata STRIVE in terms of scalability, sustainability, and quality. So we have with us Mr. Sudhakar, who's the head of program development and partnerships, besides holding other important roles in Tata STRIVE. So Sudhakar, welcome to this skill talk. And I would like to get started by asking you, how does one become a partner with Tata STRIVE in the skilling ecospace?
Thank you, Madhuri, for such a nice introduction. And also, thank you for having me here to talk about the very critical aspect in skill development, that is partnerships. Yeah. As you know, the Tata STRIVE, when we started in 6 years back, we had two very clear paths which were laid down. One, for us to set up centers and run programs on our own. And very clearly, we wanted to create an impact in the country, which will help much more than the Tata Group. So that's a thinking which was there. And that's why Tata STRIVE has become one of the most collaborative model in the country. In our vision as well, we very clearly said that apart from impacting youth in formal and informal sector, we will also help in ecosystem strength. So the point of view partnership is an extremely critical aspect in STRIVE. The whole organization growth starts with partnerships. So partnerships being a very critical aspect of Tata STRIVE, we have a very clear strategy laid down how we are going to build partnerships in for skill development. We work with government, we work with skill development industry, that is the NGOs and as well as the profit-based skill development organizations who are implementing skilling. We work with corporates who are integral part of for the success of skill development. We work with academia, who has great presence in terms of the training centers and academic institutions across the country. When we look at the partnerships, we have various types of partnerships. One, we have a pure funding partnerships, where as part of a commitment to CSR, various corporates invest their monies into skill development. And Tata STRIVE has approached both Tata Group and as well as other corporates to build partnerships around funding. And we have not just restricted ourselves to only CSR, we've also gone beyond different types of funding models. That's one kind of partnerships which we enter into. Second type of partnerships is the infrastructure partners. My fundamental belief is that you don't have to really create training centers across the country on your own. There is so much of infrastructure already exists in the country, by the way of government setting up ITIs, polytechnics, by the way of academic institutions have nook and corners of the country. How can we really join hands and work with these infrastructure partners to leverage this infrastructure which has already been created rather than setting up something completely new? And we also work with various industry leaders who could help us set up the labs in these training centers so that the fun experience. Then the third partnership, which is very, very critical for skill development, is a knowledge partnerships. Tata STRIVE has developed so many tools, techniques, and standards in the last few years. And we don't want to retain that talent, those assets only with Tata STRIVE. We want to really give this to the ecosystem, help them implement this so that the overall quality improves. And it's not about just Tata STRIVE giving it. It's also about how can we collaborate with other organizations who can actually join hands in sharing their best practices. So the partnerships is the most critical one. I believe strongly there's no point in replicating or recreating. You just work with the organizations, collaborate, get best practices together, and implement. Because end of the day, the common purpose of all skill development industry in the country is to help the youth get livelihood. Right. And that only happen and the scale can be addressed only with the collaborative model. So the knowledge partnerships plays a extremely important.
Yeah.
Next one, which is very, very critical, is the technology partnerships. In a changing world, COVID hit all of us so well. it was very, very important for us to adopt to new methods of learning. Without technology support, I don't think it would really help us address this challenge. And Tata Strive, being an organization, being part of a Tata Group and TCS, supporting Tata Strive from the initial days, we said that technology would become integral part of its operations.
Right.
Because of that, I think we've innovated technology so much, starting from a simple tool like interest inventory at the time of mobilization till post-placement tracking with the help of our systems. We are able to really address the entire value chain with the help of technology. And technology not only helped in terms of improving our own quality, it has also helped in terms of scaling up across the country. Tata Strive works with n number of implementation partners who executes programs on behalf of Tata Strive. And if we have to have an integrated system to control the performance of these centers and also see what is happening virtually, it is very important to have a technology integration. So we work with multiple organizations on technology integration and technology development. The last but the least is the industry partnerships for internships and placements. End of the day, whatever we are doing needs to result in livelihood. And we've got 300 plus placement partners whom we are working with, who help us get our students get the internships and as well as placements.
Okay. I think that was quite an elaborate picture of various partnerships. Let me quickly try to simplify and summarize, before we proceed. So I think you started by talking about funding, where people can seek partnerships for the funding part of it, then infrastructure, knowledge, and technology, and of course, industry. So I think putting all these together, we understand these are also the pillars of any skilling, intervention in the country. And like you very rightly said, no need to reinvent the wheel again. So whatever is existing, you're trying to leverage, and you're also talking about it with all your partners, and also trying to see how existing infrastructure or existing things can be put to use. I think that's a wonderful way of also speeding up many things, right? This is something very interesting. Now, going to one of the important aspects you touched upon was scalability. We understand that there are lots and lots of organizations who are stuck, who do great work, but they are stuck and they don't know how to grow or scale. So how do you think a particular kind of a partnership with Tata Strive can help them scale?
Thanks, Madhuri. I think this is I would say $1 million question, which all of us break our head. When Tata Strive started, I think one of the big issue which was there in front of us was there were organizations which were scaling, but quality was a big concern, or there were organizations doing great jobs, but they were not able to scale. I think to address the issue of quality with scale, I think the technology plays an extremely important role. And also the collaborations. For example, our entire healthcare implementation, we have partnered with GE, who in turn partnered with multiple implementation partners who are doing a good job to set up centers across the country to implement programs for youth who can get trained in healthcare sector. Take another example of a BFSI, banking and financial executives training. Tata Strive has partnered with almost 6 implementation partners who are very well known and been known for doing a great job. What we have done is we have standardized the content, we have standardized the platform, and then we are also trying to get support from various Tata Group and other organizations to provide funding for implementation. And we package this whole thing, and then we work with implementation partners to implement in the areas where they are strong with. The skill development is a very, very local thing. You cannot just go to a particular place and set up a center and start doing, think that, you can do a great job. It is very, very important for us to work with organizations who are deep rooted in specific locations. So we work with implementation partners who have presence in various locations. We provide them all this support, and then we monitor their entire performance with the help of technology platform. That way, Tata Strive is able to reach out to the maximum number of places without physically being present in a specific locations. This is the reason why Tata Strive could spread its impact across all 26 states with almost close to 500,000 youth getting impacted through Tata STRIVE with just the period of 6 years.
Okay, that's really great. And I would like to ask you a slightly larger question, which is a little bit generic about making a strategic partnership work. So what do you have to say, for instance, why should somebody approach a partner or a prospective partner, like with a question, what's in it for me? So how does this mutual benefits and all come across, and it becomes something much more than an MOU signing kind of an activity? So can you
Yeah.
tell us more about it?
No, thanks. I think this is a very important. We also had experiences where we went ahead and signed MOUs with some of the organizations, but nothing moved after signing an MOU. I think that's a big challenge because MOU gives publicity. MOU talks about what is happening. I think understanding the type of collaborations or type of impact which you want to create before you get into any MOU or before you get into strategic partnership is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, Tribe, we have very clear guiding principles which we have set out, and we are very clear what sort of impact we want to create and whom we want to address.
Okay.
There are organizations who can join hands in a specific area or in the entire implementation. I think it is very critical for you to go on look out for such kind of partnerships which would help address the the purpose in which you have really set up the organization. If you have such kind of a common vision between a partner who is joining as well as the Tata STRIVE, I think we are more than happy to sign up these partnerships. However, what we do in every partnership before even getting into MOU stage, we have multiple deliberations we have before we reach out to that. One, identifying list of areas where we can collaborate. We list down, we discuss, we talk about it, we understand each other's strengths, and then clearly articulate the roles and responsibilities with the timelines.
Mm-hmm.
These two things becomes integral part of our MOUs whenever we sign. And after signing a MOU, as part of Tata STRIVE, one of the responsibilities which I handle is also program development.
Yeah.
Right? For just signing an MOU, it's also important for you to craft the program in such a way that you implement the program on the ground as soon as possible. That commitment, you should take it as a partner on yourself. So we have a very dedicated team to work on the various collaboration opportunities which are defined in MOU and ensure that it gets implemented in a very, very clear, specified duration. That helps us give commitment to even partners that it's not just about talking about MOU or talking about identifying areas. It's about implementation. End of the day, if you don't get benefited with the partnership, what is the point in having an MOU?
Yeah, and also it's like a win-win with the outcomes, which have to talk for themselves, right? So
Yeah,
I think in this connection, the aspect of quality is also very important. And since you're also heading program development, maybe you can throw some light on how you try to maintain that quality aspect, throughout in whatever you do at Tata STRIVE.
So I think while developing these collaborations and partnerships, what happens is, the intent might be good even with the organization whom you partner with, but there could be failures at various ends. There could be failures at leadership end. There could be a failure in on the ground implementation. There could be externalities which would be there. What we very clearly do is we ensure that we have a very clear outcome defined for every partnership. That is the first and most important thing for you to drive the quality. If I say that out of the partnership, I would like to look at 70% placements or 80% placements, not just getting offers, but even the students taking up jobs. So that's the parameters. Once we define these outcomes very clearly and start the collaboration, while the program gets implemented on the ground, there is a very clear framework Tata STRIVE has created called Tata STRIVE Quality Framework, TSQF. The Tata STRIVE Quality Framework is a end-to-end assessment of the way the operations are being run in centers. Starting infrastructure up to the quality of placements, the entire value chain is looked at. So every program where we sign our MOU goes through the process of 2 cycles of quality assessment once in a year. I think that gives us an understanding of what's happening in the centers on the ground. The two more aspects which are important for us is the faculty. End of the day, what it boils down to the quality of the faculty who's sitting in the classrooms. The entire quality of implementation with respect to the facilitation is done through the help of checking the quality of the faculty. We have a dedicated faculty development team who focuses on how the facilitation is happening in the classroom. Through various ways, we have virtual classes being attended by our master facilitators. We also go and sit in the classroom and see how the facilitator is, and also continuously help the faculty to get new skills so that they are able to improve their facilitation skills. The last piece is all of this, you could do it in a few instances. It cannot be on a day-to-day basis. I think that's where technology plays a major role. Today, sitting here, I can very clearly see what sort of an impact a particular center is creating on a day-to-day basis, a live information which is available through our technology platform.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just about how many people are enrolled, how many people are placed. It's also about the gap between the batches, how many people are getting certified. The various important parameters for the quality are all defined on the platform, and we are able to see that information live at any point of time. So we could easily catch hold of issues which are happening in the center and then go and address them immediately. So the Tata STRIVE quality framework, the faculty development and faculty quality, and the third is the technology. I think these are the very, very important pillars of ensuring that you have a quality implementation on the ground.
Okay, that's really great. The way you have explained how quality is ensured step by step through many mechanisms and many parameters. I think this is what the entire skilling, what should I say, enterprises need in India at this point of time, when you're talking especially about short-term training program, which is heavily government driven and target driven. Still, it is very target driven, as we all know. So my last question to you would be, how do you foresee this skilling, all the skilling initiatives going forward, from a big picture view, considering that short-term training is something that's going to be very prominent. And also this idea of moving from target driven to demand driven, which has also been, mandated by the government, is yet to take shape. So what are your views on this?
So on the first part, which is basically the short-term courses, yes, I totally agree with you that the demand is going to increase because, and the quality of implementation is also is changing. Digital is playing a huge role in ensuring that there is a live learning at any point of time. Right. I think this is in view, the number of opportunities for learning are increasing huge. People are able to go through a self-learning or able to go through a video which explains them the kind of a practice which need to be done. Yes, I think the only piece in vocational education which misses is the practical exposure. I think if we are able to bring in infrastructure partners together, and if youth can go and get practice there and learn through the the online training, I think we will be able to solve the problem of short-term training quite well. And short-term training is also not about just traditional electrical training or AC technician. I thought it's also about the emerging trends and emerging industry. If we are able to craft right solutions for the youth, we will be able to address the issue of the skill gap. And so I think very recently I was talking to someone who is working on gig jobs. Imagine the kind of opportunities which are emerging. I think the days are gone where people are looking at permanent job. Right. I think more from a permanent or experience based to a skill based job.
Yeah.
Okay. It's all about, if you have a particular skill, you get a job, you get the job done, and you get your earning. I think if we are able to aggregate such kind of opportunities at a national level and make it available for youth and then create programs around it, we will sort out the issue of demand supply challenge. And also, if you really need to address the issue of the employment, you have to go to the rural places and create programs which are more of local livelihood opportunities. Today, we do not have a database which says that in a district, what sort of employment opportunities are there or what sort of entrepreneurship opportunities are there. Of the research which was done in the country so far, it's at an industry level or at a state level.
Yeah.
First time Tata STRIVE, UNDP, and also Child Fund, we joined hands in creating a research to find out what sort of opportunities that are there at a district level. This work would help us understand various gaps in the district and what sort of aspirations are there with the youth. If we are able to create such kind of a database, and I think we will be solving the problem of target-driven skilling. Because today we do not have a data. I think the data is sitting at a aggregated level. We have to get to the roots of districts, understand what are the gaps, and not just on employment, but also entrepreneurship opportunities, and skill youth on that particular skill. Automatically, I think the demand supply issue would be addressed.
Yeah, I think this is absolutely to the point about addressing the issues at the district and the local level. So Sudhakar, besides all this, do you have anything else to share? Any other points we missed during our conversation?
Madhuri, I just wanted to say only one thing. I think every player in skill development will have to look at this as the most collaborative. We can solve the problem. Our problem in front of us is huge.
Yeah.
Scale is huge, and it cannot be achieved by working in silos. The way it can be sorted out is to come together, share our assets, share our experiences, share our learnings, and automatically we can bring in solutions which can resolve the large number of the scalable issues which are there in the country. At Tata STRIVE, we are always open for collaborations, and we are open to share tools which we have already created with organizations who have a common purpose. I think we should join hands. We should not think about initiative or Birla's initiative or government's initiative. I think it's an issue which we are solving for the major issue of skilling, and joining together and solving this problem in a collaborative way. That's the only solution which I can see. The more we collaborate, and the bigger problems we will solve.
Okay. Thank you. On that note, for collaboration, we look forward to more collaborations, with Tata STRIVE. We hope that you expand your presence and your impact with many more collaborations. Thanks a lot for talking to me today, Sudhakar. We'll be in touch. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhuri.